Okay, here's our video on evaluating and writing algebraic expressions. And we did a lot of this in 6th grade. We'll just add to it in 7th grade. So remember, with algebraic expressions, we have variables. So that's not a variable, it's a constant. But we can also make it an algebraic expression by just putting in a variable. And it could be any letter. It could be x, could be y, could it be m. Most of the time we use x. And we did this in 6th grade. So here it's just saying 5 more than x. That's what that expression is saying. And remember, expressions don't have equal signs. They're just expressing a math phrase. So remember, a variable is a symbol, and it represents a number. We don't know what the number is. It could be x, it could be y, it could be z, it could be any letter. They're all variables. They're unknown. And we need to know what terms are. So when you just have one thing, you have one term. So if I just had x saying, okay, that's one term. A 3 is one term, a 5 is one term. The minute you have a plus or a minus sign, you have two terms. So this is 3 more than a number. Or sometimes we can have subtraction, as long as it's plus or minus. So here we have two terms. So this is saying x less than 3. Actually, you would say a number less than 3. And we'll go over that in a minute. So again, when you see an addition or subtraction symbol, a new term is made. So let's look at this here. We have two terms here. Here we have one term. You don't see a plus or a minus, so it's one term. And here, how many terms do you think are here? 3 terms. There's a minus and there's a plus. They separate each term, so there's 3 terms here. How many terms are here? 2, separated by a plus. So only a plus or a minus will separate terms. Now, as you saw, you see these letters next to numbers. And we did this again in 6th grade. So a number next to a letter means you're multiplying. So here we have 3 times g. 3 times a number. 3 is the coefficient. The number next to the letter is the coefficient, and of course the letter is the variable. So this means 3 times g. What does this mean? 5 times g. And this, make that x better, 10 times x. Or you can just say 3 times a number, 5 times a number, 10 times a number. So when we're writing expressions, here we have 5 more than a number. We don't know what the number is. We're just writing an expression. Be careful when you see subtraction, though. This is 15 less than a number. It's not a number less than 15. Very important. So again, 15 less than w, which we'll just say a number. 15 less than that. So you can say a number, take away 15. You can say the difference between a number and 15, right? Or you can say 15 less than a number. So be careful with less than, and we talked about this a lot in 6th grade. So here, w decreased by 15. So here we're saying a number decreased by 15. So it's saying a number decreased by 15. So if we say, and we're writing it the same way, but we say it differently for less than, we're saying 15 less than a number. 15 less than a number is the same as saying a number decreased by 15. Be careful with less than. So how would you write an algebraic expression for this? 5 more than q apes. 5 more means plus. We'll say q. 5 more than q apes. It's 5 more than a number. And of course, since addition is commutative, you can even do it that way. How would you write that expression? The quotient of q and 7. It's division, right? There we go. You can make it a fraction like that. You can put the division sign if you want. You can even put it in the box. There we go. So here we have a algebraic phrase, and we're writing it in math. So how would you do that? 5 times your grade, G. So it says 5 times your grade, and then it says G, so we have to use G. 5 times G, remember? A number next to a letter means multiplication. That's how you would do it. Now again, expressions we don't solve unless you hear the word or see the word on the test, evaluate. Then we can solve it. So what's 5 less than a number? Be careful with less than. 5 less than a number. It's this, right? The difference between a number and 5, or a number minus 5, is also could be written 5 less than a number. So when you see the less than, remember, whatever came first is actually last. So let's say we want to evaluate this, and I'll put on a quiz when x is 2. So what does that mean? Well, instead of it being x now, it's 2. So you do 2 minus 5, and you get negative 3. Okay, evaluate this now. See if you can do that. Pause the tape. So this is a algebraic expression. If we didn't have this, let's say we block this out, we're saying 5 more than what? Here we're saying 2 divided by q, 2 divided by a number plus 5. Or we're saying 5 more than 2 divided by a number, right? 2 divided by a number, because 2 is on top. Or the quotient of 2 and a number plus 5. Or 5 more than the quotient of 2 and a number. So now we're saying q is negative 1. So we're saying 2 over negative 1 plus 5. So when you see 2 over negative 1, right, it's just negative 2, right? Anytime you have an integer over 1, it's just that number. In this case, it's just negative. So our answer would be 3. Okay, we did this one before, so again, we just put a 2 in. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. What if we had an input-output box like this? Now, you can see that there's a rule here. And we did a lot of this again in 6th grade. So what do you think the rule is? Well, the rule is multiply the top number, x, by 3. 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12. Now, let's say I wanted you to make a algebraic expression with this. Well, what are we doing with m? We're multiplying m by 3. So there it is, 3m. And obviously we know that m must be 5 because 3 times 5 is 15. But this is the expression. Okay, great job.